I'm Aaron, that's Zach, this is UTV Driver, and this is our list of our favorite recreation utility side-by-side. Zach, this is not a crowded segment anymore.
You're right. It's it's funny. We're watching things sort of change a little bit. Manufacturers aren't paying quite as much attention as they used to.
No.
And the vehicles that are in this segment are getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, most of them are. Some of them are brand new, though. The ones that are staying in this segment, I feel like, are getting a little bit sharper. It almost feels like the utility segment is kind of bleeding over into this. But for right now, we got a list of our favorites. Let's dive right in. Number one, the 2024 Polaris Expedition.
Yeah, Polaris made some big news with this thing.
Yeah, so this is the second all-new machine that they released this year, which is crazy that they did 2 ground-up redesigns in a year. This thing, when we first saw it, we thought, is that just a redesign general? But it's not. Brand new rig from the ground up. Polaris aimed this at the overlanding crowd, which is basically like throwing down the recreation utility gauntlet. It's supposed to do both things equally well. We spent about 200 miles of Arizona desert in one earlier this year, and I gotta say, it might be my favorite side-by-side of the year.
Really?
Yeah, it's that good.
Why?
They make a bunch of different versions, for one thing. There's 2-door and 4-door versions. They make an ADV model, which is like an SUV, and they make the regular XP, which is like a truck. So if you need more utility, you can have an open truck bed, 1,000 pounds of bed capacity, all that jazz. If you want something that's enclosed, you can bring your dog, your family, keep all of your stuff inside and out of the dust. There's the ADV model. And the coolest thing is, no matter which one you get, they've got all kinds of accessories for the thing, including a rooftop tent.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, what a flex to just...
That's pretty rad.
So you've got all of that capability, and it's a luxury machine on the inside. We've talked about the Polaris Ranger XD 1500 before, and how good and how complete of a machine that is, how many amenities there are in it. The Expedition is the same way. You can easily get power windows, you can easily get HVAC, a boom and stereo, the whole bit, all the comforts of home that you want, glass windshield washers, that whole thing, and it's a really well-realized side-by-side. Again, unlike an older rig, which starts rattling after like a day, Polaris spent a really long time making sure that this thing had a really stiff and secure chassis. So you drive it, I mean, we hit G-outs at fast in the desert, and it stayed completely composed, and it was loaded down. I had 2 people in it, 3 people's worth of gear, and I say it again, 150 pounds of tent on the top. And, you know, we were smacking G-outs at 45 miles an hour, and it did not miss a beat.
Yeah, well, when you think about this segment, the thing that I love about it is that it allows you to explore and have a good time and go out camping. You can take all your stuff with you, right? You've got the functionality of a bed, so if you wanted to pack a stove and camping gear and chairs and all the rest of that nonsense, a massive cooler, all that stuff goes in the bed. There's room for it where there isn't in a sport rig, but you still have the flexibility and the fun of a sport rig with good suspension, a playful motor, all the rest of that, and I feel like the Expedition really nailed that.
It really nailed that down, and it is very much a side-by-side still. It will go places that your Tacoma won't. The first thing a lot of overland people said when this came out was, well, just buy a Tacoma, because this is a pretty expensive rig, but I gotta say, you will do things in this out of the box without any modifications that a Tacoma that you have spent 15 grand modifying will not do. You can flop it on its side just like another side-by-side, roll it back over and keep going. We don't condone that, but things happen, and if things happen to this, it's got plastic body panels, and, you know, again, you don't have to rely on it to get you home.
Well, we say that as former Tacoma owners. Like both of us have owned current generation Tacomas, and we did wheeling in both of those rigs, and I can tell you right now, the difference in capability is night and day. I don't care if you've got a TRT Pro, I don't care what you've thrown at it, you just can't do what these do.
Right, and these are smaller. They don't feel smaller on the inside, but they're shorter, they're narrower, they're not as tall. All of those things help you get down trails that you, even if you would take your truck down, you'd have a hard time getting down there, and you can go further in a day. When you're overlanding and the trail gets gnarly, sorry man, it's going to take you 2 hours to get through some of these rock gardens, and the Polaris does exactly what UTVs do, which is just bounce on through. You know, the drawback is cost. They are expensive.
What are we talking about?
It's pretty easy to spend 45 grand on one. The starting price is down in the low 30s, so
that's not bad though.
No, but to get all of the amenities you want, you know, you're talking 40 grand. You're easily going to be talking 40 grand. So that is something to think about, but again, Polaris has recognized a market for it, and it went for it. It's worth noting that this is the only side-by-side you can buy right now that is out of the box, outfitted for overlanding, and I think that's huge. Before we go any further, do us a favor, like this video, comment on it, and subscribe to our channel. That is the only way to get updated when we release a new video. We've got new content every week, and if you're not subscribed, you're gonna miss it. All right, so let's move on to number 2, a longtime favorite of ours. Zach, you wanna take this one?
Oh yeah, this has been one of our rigs of the year for the past 2 years running.
Yep.
Yamaha Armax, Armax 2, Armax 4, doesn't matter. They are absolutely excellent.
Yep.
You know, Yamaha's based down in Georgia, and they do a lot of development here on the East Coast, which is where we ride. And the Armax really shows that.
Yep.
That thing is happy as can be in this neck of the woods. It's got plenty of capability. It's super refined. The interior is still really nice, and it has some of the best articulation of any rig we've tested.
Yep.
It has been a chief of our RTI test for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Like, the only things that beat it were my crappy 48 Willis, which is not safe to operate in any conditions, and the Maverick X3 once we took all of the sway bars off.
Right.
Which is also not super recommended.
Yeah, not something we recommend, and also that's not an out of the box rig anymore.
No.
And let's go back to the CJ for a second, because the Armax has shadows of CJ in it. It's very short, it's very narrow, and that helps it get through just about any trail you can aim it at. What is it, 64 inches wide? So again, out here on the East Coast, we see them testing at Windrock, and yeah, they have built a machine that will rock crawl all day and then go home and haul hay bales and, you know, fence wire and whatever you want to do around. It's a really, really well thought out proposition.
Yeah, and you know, the things that we love about it are its out-of-the-box capability, and that includes the fact that it has a true front locker.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the machines that we talk about, especially in the sport side, it's either an e-locker or it's a viscous limited slip sort of situation, so you have to wait for one wheel to spin before it goes. With the Armax, you push the button, that sucker is locked in, and you will billy goat up whatever you want to go up.
Yep.
It is truly impressive. You know, we love the fact that it comes with rock sliders that are true rock sliders. It's not like you've got a piece of plastic or a piece of tube that's part of the chassis out there. It is an integrated rock slider with a kicker. Depending on the trim, you can get true bead locks. I mean, it just remains one of our favorite machines. It is super fun. You know, and a lot of times I would prefer to have one of those versus a sport rig.
Oh yeah, absolutely, I agree. I mean, we took a dead stock Armax XTR out to Moab, bashed it around all week, and it was our favorite rig on that trip. I think it was just
by a wide margin.
Yeah, there was nothing that we could point it at that it was worried about.
And it's comfortable. It shifts easy. It's just a good machine.
Yep, high quality.
So that's why it's number 2. Moving down the list, we're going to talk about CanAm now, the CanAm Commander.
Ooh, that's a good rig.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
It's a good rig, yeah. This definitely takes the rec part of rec utility to the front, I think. Maybe the best handling rec ute I've driven aside from the Expedition. It's just super stable. You can go out and do rally car stuff in it all day long. And again,
well, you sit lower in the thing, which pros and cons, right? You feel more stable. At the same time, you lose a little forward visibility. So if you're doing like more rock crawly stuff, that's going to be a detriment. If you're out in the desert just hauling tail, it's going to be great. It feels really nice to sit down low in that sucker. It looks good. It looks like a proper machine. And we like it a lot.
There's 600 pounds of bed capacity to take all your camping gear with you. So yeah, if you're going to go way out into Joshua Tree, you could do worse.
Yeah, exactly. Again, 2-inch receiver, just like the other rigs that are out there. You can tow whatever you want to put behind it within reason. Yeah, we've loved it. That's a good rig.
Throw your mountain bikes on it, do whatever you want to do. That brings us to number 4, the Polaris General XP1000. The only reason that this machine is that far down the list is that it's starting to get a little long in the tooth, but there's a reason it's long in the tooth, and that is that it just works. It is excellent. Polaris has not seen a reason to mess with it, and we think they're right.
I mean, we used a 4-seater as a support rig when we were out in Utah this year, and that thing did not miss a beat.
Nope.
You know, we were tackling some pretty fun, gnarly stuff, and even for a 4-seat rig, even being absolutely bone stock, it did not bat an eye.
Nope.
Even while carrying all of our camping gear, all of the coolers, the fuel, the camera gear, all of that stuff, it was just perfect.
And it did all that, and then we used it as a recovery platform. You know, we didn't intend to do that, but we needed it for that. And it didn't miss a beat. It sat there. It was super solid. It was the XP1000 model, so it had a winch from the factory. It was indispensable out there. You give up a little bit in fit and finish here and there, but really you can just rely on them all day. It's got a proven powertrain. Polaris's Parallel Twin 1000, which is an excellent engine. It's got their PVT in it, which has been in every side-by-side Polaris has made for the last like 10 years. So you know that it's going to be reliable. You know that you're going to be able to get parts should you need parts. The wheel and tire package is excellent right out of the box. It's just
really hard to argue
just keep going down the list.
You know, it's worth pointing out that this comes with Ride Command.
Yes.
You know, and when you're out in the sticks exploring, the Ride Command really is the best infotainment system out there.
Yep.
Not only is it seamless integration for your phone, the navigation navigation is excellent. They have over 1 million miles of mapped trail.
Yep.
You know, we are used to coming out to a new trail system, having to pull up Onyx, making sure we've got all our downloaded maps, all that fun stuff. Ride Command doesn't do that. You just walk in and it's already there.
The new generals are available with Ride Command Plus, so you can do map sharing between your group.
That's like,
you know, and you can also, they don't tell you this, but you can download it on your phone. So even if you don't have a Polaris, you can download Ride Command. And so if you're driving with buddies who are in other manufacturers' rigs, you can have them put Ride Command on their iPhone, and then suddenly you're all connected.
That's like,
so, you know, the Polaris leads the way. We'll stop bleeding about how good Ride Command is.
When somebody gets close to
it. When there's another option that's better. Aftermarket or OEM, there just simply is no better system than Ride Command.
It even comes down to just communication, you know?
Right.
In a lot of these places, you are far from anywhere with cell service.
Yep.
You know, even if you do have cell service, if your buddy takes off and leaves you and is riding, he's not going to hear his cell phone ring.
Nope.
There's no chance. Ride Command, you can send a message directly from your system to somebody else's system that's linked. You can see everybody else moving on the trail. You can tell exactly how fast they're going. So you're not doing that thing where you come up to a junction, you're looking over your shoulder waiting for somebody.
Right.
You can just look down and go like, oh, Aaron's behind me and he's whipping along at 40 miles an hour. He's good to go. He'll see where I'm going. It's super slick, and it's one of the things that make the General XP1000 really appealing.
Yep, and we should mention that it is also available on the Polaris Expedition that we mentioned earlier. Another reason to go the Polaris route. Number 5, another brand new rig.
Yeah, or at least a heavily refreshed rig. Yamaha this year put the Armax engine in the Wolverine X2, sharpening that thing considerably.
Yes, and that just makes a little bit smaller package than the Armax and a little bit more affordable package than the Armax available. A lot more affordable. It's more available to the masses, and it has pretty dang close to the same capabilities as the standard Armax. Associate editor Jackson Cooper spent a bunch of time in one up in North Carolina. Came away very impressed. I think that this is going to be a really cool entry-level platform from Yamaha going forward. Can't wait to spend more time in one, but early signs are good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just right-sized. You know, it's a little bit smaller than some of the other rigs that are on here, and especially out east where the trails are super tight, that's really a boon.
We've said this in some other videos, but $20,000 is a lot of money, and the Wolverine X2 comes in under that. So when we talk about something being affordable in the mid-20s and you scoff at us, well, go look at Yamaha getting a very capable rig for that. You're not having to sacrifice or go bargain basement.
Well, and a super reliable rig, too.
Yes.
Just like the Armax, the X2 has a 10-year belt warranty, which is insane.
We're still not sure how they do it, but we're glad that they do.
Pixie dust, I don't know, whatever, however it works. So, you know, you're not going to be out on the trail changing belts all the time, which is a huge benefit, and you also don't have to worry about the complexity of something like a dual clutch transmission.
No, you've just got a parallel twin CVT. The parallel twin is dead nuts reliable, and you've got a warranty on your belt, so get after it.
Yeah. So it's a good rig, and that's why it makes number 5 on our list.
Yeah, number 6 is one that you're particularly excited about, so let's hear it.
Mahindra Roxor.
Oh, the Mahindra Roxor.
Look, you know, if we're talking rec-ute, few things are more rec-ute than an old school Willys, and what is a modern interpretation but a Mahindra Roxor? Turbo diesel 4-cylinder, 5-speed transmission, proper low range.
Let's go.
Old school wheeling, stick axles. I mean, I went out and drove one around a parking lot and was immediately in love. I mean, it just ticked every box on my idiot brain list. It's excellent. They're goofy looking, but they make little diesel noises with a little turbo and all the rest of that.
Turbo whistle. And what's more charming than an old tractor?
A lot of people may not be familiar with Mahindra. Mahindra's been building agriculture equipment in India for over 80 years.
Yeah,
I mean, like a long time. They know how to build a solid diesel platform. They know how to build ag equipment. And if you can build a tractor, you can build a Jeep.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is worth pointing that out again because, you know, this is not some strange company that hasn't been around very long or anything like that. No, they've been keeping Southeast Asia in agriculture for forever, and so.
And keep in mind, this isn't a sport rig. You're not going to be doing 60 miles an hour down a trail. It's more for poking around. You've got, you know, your significant other next to you. You want to take a nice fall drive. That's what the Mahindra's for. You've got a little farm. You need to tow a trailer around. You need to tow a spreader, whatever. Perfect.
Or you just want that old school Jeep charm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So anyway, I had to put that one on the list. I'm still enamored with it. I'd like to get one out on a trail and see how it does.
Yeah, we really need to get our hands on one like long term.
Yeah, but
really cool.
We'll get there. Those are our tried and true favorites, but there are a lot of rigs out there that still are worth mentioning.
Yeah, worth mentioning. Let's see. We can start with the Segway Fugleman. That's a new one.
That is a new one. You know, you say Segway, people think Paul Blart Mall Cart. Yeah, exactly. But they're doing some really interesting, fun stuff right now, including with this Fugleman, which is a, you know, tried and true true platform of rec-uteness. You know, a decent amount of utility, pretty decent drivetrain.
105 horsepower parallel twin. They just came out this year with a crew model, so you got a 6-seater if you want it, and they come in, again, they're at that bargain price point. They're less than 20 grand to start out. I can't say enough about how valuable that is to the segment. What else we got on here?
Kawasaki Teryx. You know, that one's been around for a long time. It's, you know, it's a tough as nails little rig. Also sort of a Wolverine X2 competitor.
Yeah, in that range.
So in that neck of the woods, a Honda Pioneer 1000-5.
Again, another bargain rig that is just super, super solid. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun in those.
Yeah, if you're out there looking for a rec-ute rig, there are a lot of options out there. This segment's been around for a minute. Some of these rigs are showing their age just a little bit, but there's also a lot of new blood, including stuff like the Expedition and the Fuelman.
Yep, and if you want to know more, we've got buyer's guides for all of these rigs on our website, utvdriver.com. Head over there and check those out, and if you need more shopping tools, we've got it. We've got reviews, we've got industry news. It's all there 5 days a week, and then you can hit us up on all of our social media channels 7 days a week. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, we're on it. Can't wait to see you there.